For Saul Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed face of modern boxing, one name continues to cast a long shadow. That name is David Benavidez, the relentless Mexican monster who has been outspoken, persistent, and unwavering in his challenge. Benavidez insists he's ready to face Canelo and has even accused the champion of deliberately steering clear of him. While fans and analysts argue over the dangers of such a matchup, veteran commentator Max Kellerman has stripped away the chatter. In his view, this is not just another fight on Canelo's resume, it's a battle for legacy. According to Kellerman, the very opponent many believe Canelo dreads most may actually hold the key to his lasting greatness. Canelo Alvarez isn't simply a title holder, he's a force of nature, a true phenomenon, and the authentic golden boy of Mexican boxing.
Usually stacked in his favor. Canelo is the golden boy first, because he can fight his ever-loving ass off. When he was a teenager, he was a YouTube sensation, playing to packed houses in Mexico, there to watch him beat up grown men. Now, over a decade later, he's outboxing the rangiest and cagiest, and outfighting the roughest and toughest in the whole wide world. Canelo was the golden boy second, because as a top fighter of Mexican heritage, he has a built-in following. There is no larger nor more rabid fan base in the world. Thirdly, he's good-looking, which plays to Madison Avenue, see his Under Armour endorsement deal. And with the red hair, he's got an unusual look, an Irish-looking Mexican prize.
It's a distinction Max Kellerman reserves for only a select few, even drawing a comparison to the original golden boy, Oscar de la Hoya. The difference, however, is striking. While de la Hoya had to fight to win over Mexico's passionate fan base, Canelo emerged from it naturally. He embodies the perfect balance of crafty defensive technique and crushing offensive strength.
Canelo's promoter, Golden Boy, is so named because the boss is the Golden Boy himself, Oscar de la Hoya. De la Hoya's appeal was based on his excellence, of course. He brought home the Olympic gold medal after all. But also the fact that he was good-looking and of Mexican heritage. Oscar was Mexican-American. And because of that, and because he was a pretty boy, he had some proving to do before he was accepted by the Mexican fight crowd. I mean, if you're so tough and willing to show it, which you better be in order to win over hardcore fight fans, why are your facial features still where they're supposed to be?
Canelo's appeal comes from a rare combination: world-class skill, a deep bond with Mexico's die-hard boxing faithful, and a marketability that stretches far beyond the ropes. His career record looks like a Hall of Fame ballot on its own. He hasn't just faced champions, he's deliberately pursued the toughest challenges. Alvarez squared off against Erislandy Lara, the most elusive of Cuban southpaws, a dangerous, high-risk stylist that many others would have avoided entirely. He went after knockout machines like Daniel Jacobs and Sergey Kovalev, chasing greatness through battles most fighters would hesitate to accept.
I thought he beat Trout and Jacobs, close. Yes, I thought he beat Lara too. Thought if anyone deserved the decision in the Triple G rematch, it was Canelo. I ain't playing favorites. I agree he lost the first Triple G fight and got practically shut out by Floyd Mayweather the night one judge had it a draw laughably. But that's how it usually works with the network's house fighter, with the promoter's cash cow, with the A side, with the golden buff and willing to show it, and is not apologizing for the fact that he has those kind of James Toney level skills to hit you more than you can hit him. Slippery, slip punches and counter guy. There have been great Mexican fighters who were also big draws, like Julio Cesar Chavez and Marco Antonio Barrera. But until now, there hasn't been a genuine Mexican golden boy, the glamour fighter with crossover appeal and the biggest boxing star.
Yet no rivalry has shaped Canelo's legacy more than his unforgettable two-fight series with Gennady Golovkin. For years, fans demanded the showdown, with Golovkin viewed as an unstoppable force, a relentless Kazakh wrecking ball. When the two finally collided, the outcome was a hotly debated draw, a verdict that many felt tarnished the sport and cast doubt over Canelo's place at the very top.
Some people thought that Triple G won the second fight as well. I think Canelo showed some improvement, but it's also possible that Triple G might have slowed down a little bit.
I think so. The first fight I had at 9-3 for Triple G. That's how I scored.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and I gave the first 3 rounds to Canelo, and then I had it every round after for Triple G. This fight, I thought Canelo won. close fight. And if you gave it to Triple G, I wouldn't have screened robbery.
Right.
You know,
I think Teddy was saying that he thought the Triple G won, but I felt like, well, it's a pretty close fight. But certainly Canelo showed much improvement.
he did, and he fought a better fight.
As Canelo worked his way through these challenges, several of those contests, including the first clash with Golovkin, were decided by the narrowest of margins. Critics argued that more than once, the scorecard seemed to tilt in his favor, with judges granting him the benefit of the doubt.
Brendan Schaub, I should say this before the decision gets announced, said that if Golovkin didn't win by some ungodly, lopsided beatdown, that he could lose a decision because of corruption. He goes, because that's how boxing rolls, and there's way more money in Canelo winning. So that said, now that we know that.
Tecate sponsor.
That's true. Well, apparently the audience is like half Mexican. He's a superstar in Mexico. Just a superstar.
Who are you talking about?
Canelo.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see if Brendan Schaub predicted this correctly, because we think
It has to be Golovkin.
the unofficial scorecard guy had it for Golovkin by several rounds. We think it was Golovkin clearly, although Canelo fought a great fight.
Used by the backlash, Canelo made a stunning transformation in the rematch. He abandoned caution and flipped the script, pressing forward, hunting the hunter, and forcing Golovkin onto the back foot. The result was a grueling, razor-close victory that cemented his image as, in Max Kellerman's words, a fighter through and through, a 100% warrior.
Match, Triple G's fighting on the outside, and little Canelo Alvarez is chasing him. Canelo is a 100%.
There, the debate around Canelo evolved. It was no longer about whether he was great, that was settled. The new question became whether he could one day eclipse the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez as the greatest Mexican fighter in history. To reach that level, Kellerman suggested, Canelo would need to accomplish something truly monumental, perhaps even conquering the entire light heavyweight division.
I think it was clear. I think that the smaller guy backed up the bigger guy. See, a puncher like Golovkin, a guy who's made his living on coming forward, doesn't want to go backwards. That was Canelo's game plan from the beginning, and you have to give him credit for having the courage to stand in the lion's den to get his work off.
But when he was backing him up, Andre, Triple G was using the jab all night long, and it couldn't miss Canelo's face. What
I'll
about
put
that?
it like this. Most of the combinations throughout the course of the fight, Canelo led. Golovkin would tap him with a jab or maybe come back with a right hand, a left hook, and Canelo would also finish. He would lead and he would finish. So as a judge, I'm looking at that, and to me, if I didn't score round for round, I'm looking at Canelo and I'm saying that he has the momentum. He's dominating this fight. So you can have a close fight, but there could also be a guy kind of dominating. Like, man, it's subtle, but man, this guy has the momentum. Canelo
was cementing his empire. A new force was quietly rising in the background, David Benavidez. From an early age, Benavidez carried the burden of massive expectations. Kellerman even once remarked that he was the closest thing he had ever seen to a modern-day Julio Cesar Chavez in a bigger frame.
Ever see Julio Cesar Chavez in his prime? I'm talking about the daddy. I'm talking about one of the greatest fighters ever. This guy is the closest thing I have seen to a big Julio Cesar Chavez. David, I'm not putting the Chavez thing on you. I'm just saying, you're the closest thing I've seen to a big dude.
Benavidez's path was mapped out from the time he was just 3 years old. Under the guidance of his father, Jose Benavidez Sr., his life became a mission to reach boxing's summit. His childhood wasn't filled with playgrounds or games, but with discipline, countless hours of drills and sparring against grown men while he was still a boy. He's not a fighter who simply boxes, he hunts. In his own words, he welcomes war inside the ring. His style is suffocating, a non-stop assault of 7, 8, sometimes 9 punch combinations designed to systematically break down an opponent's body and spirit. For Benavidez, titles are not enough. His stated mission is immortality, to carve out a place as the greatest boxer in history. Over time, he's evolved from a raw, mistake-prone prodigy into a focused, disciplined destroyer, squeezing every ounce of potential from his natural gifts. Yet despite all his power, ambition, and dominance, one massive roadblock has kept him from the superstardom he craves, stepping into the ring with Canelo Alvarez. And Benavidez has voiced a chillingly simple explanation for why that fight hasn't happened.
And everything that's happening in my career, I'm in a great position every single way. I wasn't going to go down to 168, but now if Canelo wants to come up, then I got the WBC world title 175. After I beat Bivol, I'm going to have all belts. So after that happens, now I'm the one who has the power. Now I'm the one. Canelo said he doesn't fight. He fights for greatness. He fights for titles. Well, let me go pick up all the titles.
David Benavidez hasn't minced words. He's told the world outright, Canelo is afraid of me.
So the way I've seen him handle my presence is he's definitely scared of me. You know, if you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters. You know what I mean? So he sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop.
This isn't just empty trash talk, it's a conviction Benavidez says is backed by cold analysis of Canelo's career. He points to Canelo's one-sided defeat against the larger, technically sharp Dmitry Bivol as the clearest evidence. In Benavidez's eyes, Canelo recognizes the same lethal mix in him, blistering speed, concussive power, and an iron will that refuses to bend. He has no chance of beating me now, Benavidez has declared, insisting that with each passing fight, his own confidence rises while Canelo's window of opportunity closes forever. To him, the proof is simple. If Canelo truly believed he could win, the fight would have already happened, especially given the reported $50 million offer he supposedly turned down. For Benavidez, it comes down to basic math. Canelo is a shrewd businessman, and this is one fight he knows he can't afford to lose.
What do you think about just Benavidez coming in big? Like some people give him the weight bully title, things like that. Did you feel like his size played a factor in, the later rounds?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Okay. I mean, he's just, he weighs a lot. He's a big guy. He's a big frame. And at the same time, he's got a lot of boxing skills to go on top of that. Speed, his explosiveness. He puts his punches together, well. So, he's got a lot going for him. I don't want to really make any excuses. He's a good fighter. That's why I wanted to fight him to begin with. Yeah. That's the goal, right? Like if you say you're the best, that's to seek out the best fights possible and try to make them.
But this is where Max Kellerman's sharp, counterintuitive take turns the entire conversation upside down. In his view, a clash with Benavidez wouldn't just happen, it would guarantee an electrifying spectacle. He argues it would be pure fireworks in the ring, and, perhaps unexpectedly, a stylistic matchup that could actually favor Canelo.
I always thought Benavidez was a great fight for Canelo. I thought it would produce fireworks. And
Kellerman boils it down to the fundamentals of boxing science. At his core, Canelo is a master counterpuncher, reminiscent of James Toney, a defensive genius who thrives on turning an opponent's aggression into their downfall. His style is built around baiting foes forward, making them miss by the smallest margins, and punishing them with brutal, pinpoint shots to the head and body. The opponents who trouble him most are the movers, fighters who refuse to engage, who circle on the outside, denying him the rhythm he needs. Men like Dmitry Bivol and Floyd Mayweather exposed that weakness by never allowing him the dance he wanted to lead.
I know people are down on Canelo because he lost Bivol, but Bivol was always bad for Canelo. Bivol was always the guy you put Canelo in with if you wanted to get Canelo beat. And I know Benavidez and Beterbiev, for that matter, are like these beasts, right? But man, Canelo, that's the type of fighter he is. He wants you to come to him because he's a natural counterpuncher. So I would say it's like James Toney, right? You want to beat James Toney back in the day, you go get Roy Jones, not just because he's great, but because he'll step around you. He's here, he's there, you can't find him. His feet are fast. He can get around you. But if you put Vasily Girov in with James Toney, great. Tony's just got us. Girov was an undefeated an Olympic gold medalist, world champion. But if you're going to just come at James Toney, he's going to counter you. And that's Canelo. Against Benavidez, against Beterbiev, I like Canelo's chances because they're going to do exactly what he wants them to do. And against a guy like Bivol, it's going to be tougher for him.
What about Beterbiev?
Same thing. I did Beterbiev with Canelo.
Yes.
Yeah, same thing with Benavidez. Beterbiev is going to go to Canelo. That's all Canelo.
I feel like Canelo's a fucking pussy. That's just my opinion. Because if we ever fight, the man is making well over $100 million. You know what I mean? If, let's say, he's saying that I don't have nothing to offer, that I'm nobody, that I need more experience, this and that. if you're going to make $100 million fighting somebody that has no experience, that he sucks, this and that, all this shit that they've been talking about me, why would you not come beat my ass and collect a big bag on my head after the fight? Like, this is the same shit I'm doing with David Morrell. You know what I mean? It's the hardest fight, but fuck, I'm not scared of nobody. You know what I mean? I like I said, I embrace the challenges. So for Canelo and his fans saying that I don't bring nothing to the table, I don't do this, I don't do that, man, they're all scared, just like how he's scared. You know what I mean? And if he wants to come prove that I ain't shit, come prove it in front of everybody.
But Benavidez, Kellerman argues, does exactly what Canelo wants. He marches forward, he forces exchanges, he brings the fight straight to you. That style plays directly into Alvarez's strengths. Kellerman even suggested that Canelo would have a real shot against a feared champion like Artur Beterbiev for the very same reason. It's like a fastball pitcher facing a great fastball hitter. The hitter doesn't shy away from a 100-mile-per-hour pitch, he thrives on it. That's Canelo against a pressure fighter. In that kind of fight, he can set his feet, slip and roll with the incoming shots, and unleash the devastating counters that built his legend. It's a surprising perspective, one that reframes the narrative. Instead of fear, Kellerman suggests this might actually be a calculated risk, and a winnable one, that Canelo simply hasn't taken yet.
Canelo wants. I'm not saying who necessarily wins, but that's fastball pitcher against fastball hitter. There's nothing cute there. One guy just wants you to stay there so he can come to you and do what he wants to do, and the other guy just wants you to come to him so he can do what he needs to do. Canelo just wants you to come to him. Oh, I got you now. And Beterbiev just wants you to stay right there. I'm going to come and get you. That's country hard.
This strategic puzzle has only grown more complicated in light of the dramatic turns in Canelo's recent career. The boxing world was rocked on September 13, 2025, when he suffered a decisive loss to the brilliant Terence Bud Crawford, a clear setback that exposed the first true crack in his armor in years. Adding to the uncertainty, news soon broke that Canelo would need elbow surgery, keeping him out of action until at least mid-2026. For the first time in a long time, the sport finds itself in uncharted territory. The king is, however briefly, off his throne.
Boxing Doctor News. Breaking news in the boxing world. Canelo Alvarez, the Mexican superstar, is out of the ring until mid-2026. Why? Elbow surgery after his loss to Terence Crawford. That's right. No fights for Canelo until at least April, maybe even September next year. But here's the real question. Is Canelo done? Some say he's been on the decline since 2022. Remember those fights against Berlanga, Skull, and Munguia? Critics argue he's been avoiding top contenders like Benavidez and Morrell. Now, about that Crawford fight, was it really a dismantling or just another case of Canelo's stamina giving out? The boxing world...
During this period, Canelo secured a new 3-fight deal with PBC, a decision that even caught rival promoter Eddie Hearn off guard, though he admitted it was the smartest move available. The agreement paves the way for blockbuster matchups against stars like Jermall Charlo, Errol Spence, and, of course, David Benavidez. But as Canelo recovers, Benavidez isn't standing still.
Or Benavidez, you said he was not scared to fight anyone in the previous interview. A lot of the rumors and talk on Twitter say that Canelo is scared, he's old, David is young and hungry.
Canelo Alvarez will fight anybody. You got to pay him. Yeah. If they come up with the money, he'll fight Benavidez.
He'll fight Benavidez. Just
Andy, one last question. Canelo, a hell of a fighter. But my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just my personal opinion. And I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is. He's going up. He's going up to cruise, and I'm not knocking him, but he's going up to cruiserweight. And that same guy with that, he used to be at the Mayweather boxing gym. The guys really getting the best of him in the Mayweather boxing gym. So if he's going up to quote unquote cruiserweight, I mean that's good. We got a lot. Benavidez can go and beat that same guy. He can beat that same guy at 168. So he's not doing nothing, you know, like I said before. But when you are put in a certain position, he should be he's able to like me. You know, when I was in a position, I can pick and choose who I want to, because I earned that right. But do I like this fight? Absolutely not. We want to see...
Realizing that waiting on Canelo is a losing game, Benavidez has taken matters into his own hands with a bold strategic move. He's publicly declared that he's no longer interested in the 168-pound division, admitting he lost passion for it a long time ago. Instead, his eyes are now locked on the predators of the 175-pound light heavyweight class.
Why was now the right time for you to move up from super middleweight to light heavy?
But this is the right time to move up to super light heavyweight because I've did everything I could do at 168. I've been there for 10 years. But the only other thing I had to achieve was, fighting for the unified world titles. And Canelo Alvarez is holding all of them. So he doesn't want to give me the fight. I've been mandatory for the past 3 years. I've done everything I could do to get that fight. I still haven't got it. So I'm not going to wait around for nobody. I'm going to go and make my own lane at 175, and that's exactly what I'm doing. My goal is to become unified world champion at 175. And just reign there and then maybe go up to cruiserweight. So I still have a lot to grow. I'm 27 years old, so I'm still doing a lot in this sport. So I just want to
Benavidez is now actively pursuing legends like Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol in a stunning twist of fate. He's targeting the very division that many once said Canelo needed to dominate in order to cement his place among the all-time greats. For Benavidez, this isn't just a career decision, it's a calculated checkmate.
Which one's more of the fight?
I know Dmitry Bivol more than Beterbiev, but I think Dmitry Bivol just put the game plan out how to beat Beterbiev. But both of them, I have to be at the top of my game. Training camp has to be the hardest training camp I've ever been through to win those fights. Both of them. A more like a barn burner fight would be me and Beterbiev. The fights like that, people that got a lot of power, you got to use movement. So I think that would show a different aspect in my game. But I'm 100% confident I beat both those guys. It's not going to be easy at all, but this is what we're here for.
Benavidez is turning the power dynamic on its head. No longer the challenger chasing Canelo, he's positioning himself as the champion who controls the terms. In his own words, once he captures the belts at 175, he'll hold all the leverage at the negotiation table. It's a move that reflects his warrior mentality, prioritizing legacy and delivering the fights fans truly want, rather than chasing quick paydays. In doing so, Benavidez is building his own kingdom on the very ground where Canelo's legacy was supposed to reign.
Sure. Chavez is the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, and there's a lot of competition for that distinction. Salvador Sanchez and so many others, Barrera, Morales, and everything. If Canelo were to clean out light heavy, for example, if he were to stay pound for pound best for 5, 6, 7 years, I don't know that looking back at Chavez, I'm not sure he was ever really the #1 best pound for pound fighter in the world. He was 1, 2, or 3 for a number of years. Canelo